Hello everyone, my name is Langzone90 and today we're doing a video that's different than my normal content. Today I'm going to talk about my experiences at Amazon when I worked there, and basically why, if you're considering working at an Amazon fulfillment facility, you might want to rethink that plan. So, worked at Amazon, it was about 2 years ago at this point. I've been putting off this video because I wasn't sure if I wanted to make it for sure or not, but I recently just got a charge of $99 from Amazon from using their trial version of software, or their trial membership for Amazon Prime, and I didn't cancel it in time, and they charged me $99 for it. Because they charge you like a whole year's worth of it, instead of just a month like anyone else would if your free trial expired. So you know what? Amazon, you're being scummy. I'm calling you out. So here we are. So about 2 years ago, these Amazon facilities started going under construction in my area, the St. Louis area. When I heard about that news, I went and I applied online. It took a pretty long time for them to ever reply back. It took like 3 or 4 months. But eventually they did, that they were interested in hiring me. So I went to their hiring event. I was working at Walmart at the time, and the reason I wanted to move to the Amazon was it was $2 an hour more, starting. So that seemed pretty cool. So I went to the interview, and this is kind of like the first thing I should have realized that something was wrong, because it was not a one-on-one interview like with any other job in the universe where it's just you and the other person. It was a whole classroom full of people, all around my age. There was no interview, no qualifying questions. The only thing any of us had to do to be hired was we just had to pass a drug test, and we were hired. That was it. There's nothing else. Nothing at all. So, of course, did the drug test, and I'm not a drug addict, so I passed. But, as soon as I finished that, since I knew I was getting hired, I just put in my 2 weeks at notice at Walmart. And then it took a month or two for them to reply back again. It was actually kind of making my dad all worried that I quit my job, and it was taking the second one so long to catch up with me, but eventually they did. And I had to go to the orientation. So orientation was just at it wasn't a college, it was like it doesn't matter, it just wasn't the facilities yet, because the facilities weren't done. It was just some public space of some sort. And it was just your normal stuff that you would see from like any first day of orientation, where they're showing you like videos about not doing workplace harassment and things like that. Oh, and at the I can't remember if it was during the orientation or after the first hiring event, where they started telling us all about what we could expect at Amazon. I guess it probably was the orientation day, but it's made it sound so amazing, and that's what you have to watch out for. Is they're gonna make it sound like it's amazing. They're like, "Oh, our break rooms are incredible. We have game stations set up, and you can play video games on your breaks. You can do all this stuff. You can order pizza and have it delivered to the place, or we have our own vending machines with all the food you could want in them." Just all this stuff to make it sound like it was really amazing. So I was like, hell, this is going to be amazing. That's going to be awesome. So yeah, there was that, and then also during that orientation day, they bought pizza for all of us. Again, it sounds very nice at first, but the more I look back on it, the more I realize that they were trying to make it seem like they're much better than they actually are. They were trying to lure you in. And it turns out that Amazon's really just a meat grinder that has to go through as many employees as fast as they can. So they make it really easy to be hired and to tempt you into coming. They don't really care about if you stay. But so we had that day. We didn't actually go to the facility that day. My first day, my first on-job day was our like main actual training on the job day, and that was normal. The facility was still halfway under construction, but it was enough to get going. And the first day, normal stuff, just everyone showing you how to do stuff. I was in the packing team. They showed us how to pack the packages and all that good stuff, and it seemed fine. Oh yeah, another one of the things that makes Amazon sound really tempting is you can wear whatever you want, or as long as it's not like, you know, Nazi symbols or something. But there's no dress code really, other than like long clothes that might get stuck in the conveyor belt or something that might be a safety violation. But you can wear whatever you want. There's no dress code. So that's another one of the things that they try to tempt you in. But as it turns out, you're going to be working so hard that the only thing you're ever going to want to wear is a t-shirt, because anything else is going to make you overheat. So next day, since the facility was still under construction, I didn't actually get to do very much packing myself. I had to help with laying down like the tape guidelines and stuff, and that was fine. That was whatever. Other than it's kind of hard on my knees because it's a concrete facility, concrete floored, and this building here. This is 2 million square feet. It's absolutely ginormous. These are cars. You can see they're like the size of ants compared to this facility. Even the shipping containers from freaking semi-trucks are very, very tiny compared to the facility. So this thing is gigantic. So laying tape on the concrete floor can kind of hurt, but that was fine. I didn't really care. Then I had one normal day of packing. And that's when I was starting to realize, well, and here's another one of the things where they tempt you in. It's like, you get 3 days off every week. You just work 10 hours, 4 days. Which that sounds pretty cool. Back at Walmart, that's what the supervisor shifts were. They worked for 4 days for 10 hours and then had 3 days off. Unlike the rest of the employees who worked 5 days with 2 days off. But only for 80 hours. But packing all day, you start realizing 10 hours is a pretty long time to just be standing there doing the same thing all day. But luckily I got saved from that. The lady that they were trying to have be what they called a problem solver, she wasn't really into the computer stuff and didn't really want to do it. So they traded her out with me and I became the problem solver guy. And that was pretty awesome for a while. Like, actually kind of cool. Basically, for like the first few days, they would just, well, I had to get trained first. It was like 2 weeks of training with this person that came from another facility in Tennessee or something. And it was really complicated. Like, just really unnecessarily complicated. I never really understood what it was. It just got to the point where it was like, okay, these are the steps involved when I have this, or these are the steps I should just follow if I run into this problem. I don't really understand why I need to do these steps, but that's the steps I do. So it took me a while to figure it out, but I quote-unquote did. And as I go through the story, you'll figure that out a little bit more. Basically, people would bring me stuff that like wasn't scanning, or if they had a tote that still said it had an item in it, but there wasn't any items in it anymore, because every packer gets a tote of stuff that they have to pack, and there's like a barcode on the box that has all the items assigned to it. So sometimes you'd have items assigned to it that aren't there. So that'd be another problem I'd have to fix. Barcodes that don't scan, stuff like that. And those were fairly easy fixes. The ones that the item wasn't in the tote, you would cancel the item out so it's not in the tote anymore, and then you would send a new pick order to get that item, since it's still something that someone ordered, just wasn't in that box, so you have to send a pick order out to get a new one to send out. No barcode. There's nothing I could do about that. There's just no barcode, so I had to put it aside in a box for like this other team of people who figure stuff out like that at the end of the day. And hard to scan barcodes and other kind of barcode problems I could fix. I just print out the new barcode for the item. And there were some other problems that you might run into. I can't remember all of them. Like I said, it was about 2 years ago, but I remember all the instructions she gave me didn't make any sense. I just got to the point where I was just doing the steps that, as far as I understood, was the way to do it. And that seemed fine. It seemed to work. So that workload was pretty light, and it was actually kind of fun and engaging when I had stuff, and there wasn't even much stuff all the time, so I actually started reading books on my computer, ebooks, while I waited for people to bring me things. Well, they wanted to up my responsibilities, so they started having me go out and collect these things themselves, because the packers would put their items aside in a box that had problems like that, and we'd go get them. Or when they were getting delivered to me, it was the people who were called water spiders who were bringing it to me, which water spiders are just people who provide new boxes and stuff for the actual packers, and just take care of the small things like that. So they were bringing me the boxes before, but now I had to go out and get them, which is fine, whatever. So I started doing that. That was okay. And then I had more responsibilities on me. What was the first one? I had to start looking at the stuff that had to get packed out by each hour. And if the timing on it was getting too far behind, I had to try to track down the item, or have a picker come and pick the item for us so we could pack it out ourselves and make sure it got out in time. And for a little bit that was okay, because it wasn't really like, it was stuff that was like after 30 minutes that it had been like sitting in the queue. I had to go look for it. But it was my supervisor's assistant. My supervisor was fine, but my supervisor's assistant was a fucking bitch. And she starts having me look for more and more items more and more quickly. Like, things wouldn't be due till the end of the day, and she'd be wanting me to go find them. It's like, just wait for it to come in. But no, I had to go find these items and pack them out. And at that point, when I started doing this thing where I had to get the stuff out by each hour, that was about my full workload. I wasn't using the computer anymore, and I was or very little for my own free time, and I was doing all these activities on my own. But they weren't done putting more stuff toward me. They started making me answer people's hand-on lights, is what they were called, which they had 3 settings. One was just that they're at their stations, just what the light was. It's just a green light. They had a yellow light, which was something the water spiders were supposed to notice, which was that they're just low on some kind of thing that they need. Or and then they had a alarm light, red, which was they have some kind of urgent problem that they can't continue unless they get help. So she started making me answer these and-on lights. 95% of the time it was that they're out of boxes. It was the water spiders not doing their damn job. And it didn't matter if it was that I had to get the boxes for them. Which is fucking stupid. That wasn't my job. Lots of other there's like the padding that they put in the boxes so that your items don't get jostled around, you know? The air stuff, the airbags. Those machines would get stuck all the time and have to fix those. Just all this stuff that wasn't really my job from these Andon lights. It was very rarely something that was actually for me. So at that point I was being overworked, trying to get all that done. And keep in mind, this is just the problems I was facing as the problem solver. The people who were actually packing out, which is what most people would probably be if you go into the job, they were just getting higher and higher pack rates that they had to put out. For example, me at my best, I was doing like 80 packages when I could. But that was what they expected you on like week 2. I think by the time I left, they were wanting people to do 130 packages every minute. It was insane that they thought people could do that, and I think they were getting punished for it. I don't really know for sure though, but yeah, you had to actually meet your quotas or there'd be issues. So I can't imagine what they were going through, considering the stuff I was already going through. So yeah, I just kept getting more and more lurk load. They also started having me make sure people had boxes of stuff, totes of stuff that they had to pack out. They made me make sure like the most recent stuff that is due to get packed out was at the front of the line of stuff that needed to be pushed to the people to pack out. They were just getting credit, or it's really just she. It was really just that assistant manager or assistant supervisor who just kept giving me more and more shit to do that had no relevance whatsoever. It didn't matter. Things would have gotten done without her. She'd have me search through these thousands of totes to try to find these items that were missing. And make sure they got to someone first. So that was just the job aspect of how crappy things were getting. And as the facility was getting more and more completed, and as more and more people were being hired, more and more freight was getting pushed through. The Christmas season was starting to approach, and we were just getting more and more and more and more and more stuff, and it was getting completely out of hand. And because she was making me do all this other stuff that wasn't really my job, my actual problem-solving stuff would stack up. I'd get tons and tons of this problem-solving stuff that I couldn't get done because she was having me do this other stuff that didn't matter. And this was even with, at one point, near the end of when the other lady was there helping me training me, this other guy got added to the problem-solving crew with me, and he was cool. But he was like on this, I think it's called the swing shift, which I don't really remember what that was. But it's like every other week they'd have different hours that they worked. Like I was just day shifts, front half of the week, and then there was like a day shift back half of the week, and then there was like a swing shift person who covered a little bit of both. So he was the swing shift person. So he was getting taught by someone else in addition to me. And he started learning these things that I'd never heard of in my entire life. Whoever was teaching him was showing him how to use this other software that the lady who taught me wasn't using. And we solved our problems differently, basically, and it didn't really make any sense. 'Cause like I said, I didn't really understand why we had to fix the problems the way we were doing them. I just knew that these are the steps I was supposed to do it. Well, eventually there was a second swing shift person that came from back half day shift. This lady, she really did not like the way I was solving my problems at all. She got very angry with me about how I was changing the problems, and like apparently we were putting, like, most of the stuff we were doing was wrong, was what was starting to come down from higher ups. which I have fucking no clue. There's no fucking guidance for us. There was like these instructional sheets, but the steps didn't make any sense. They didn't explain anything. We tried to follow them, and it just didn't work. And then he was getting showed this other software that would help us fix some of the problems we were having, and I didn't understand that at all either. And eventually they kind of pushed me out of the problem-solving thing. They moved me over to multi-pack, which was different than what the other people were doing, the normal packers, which were trying to pack out as many things as possible. The multi-pack people had to pack lots of stuff into single boxes, and it was really strange, big orders. And that was more relaxed atmosphere. I was at least away from the assistant supervisor over there. And that stuff was kind of fine. So, that was kind of that, but sometimes they'd still pull me back over to problem solve. But that was just the workload thing. I haven't even touched on most of the problems that we're having at this facility. So, let's use, this is the picture of the facility. Let's get kind of line tool here so I can draw things out. So, probably about back here was the packing area that we worked at. And then like over here was like the multi-pack area. Of course all the pack out all the shipping out locations were like out back here. And then like this other side over here, this was like inbound. This was stuff that was coming in instead of out. Actually, let's move that a little bit. This was stuff coming into the facility, and this is stuff going out of the facility over here. And this is the entrance. Tiny little baby entrance, only one. This is over here was like the break area. And they made it a little tiny break area up here. Very, very tiny little break area. And then there's just all sorts of other shit going on everywhere. But, lots of, like there was a fairly large row of like, this is where the pickers go and pick their stuff out of like really tall warehouse things. The stuff that we have to go pack out. There's like another set over here. So on and so forth. But the point is, like I said, this is a 2 million square foot facility. Very, 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 very big. And when things were still under construction, there was lots of paths through. Like, we pretty much had a straight shot from the entrance to where we worked and back over here. And then they got rid of the straight way through place, because kind of a safety hazard, because the pick machines would go through here. So instead of having the straight line to go through, we had to start going this way. Yeah, we're using the line tool. Then we'd have to go this way. Then we'd have to go this way. This way. It had so much more time than just being able to cut through right here. So already, with like this kind of walk, we were going like, it would take like 2.5 minutes to get to the break room and 2.5 minutes to get back. We'll get back to that later in just a moment here. But eventually they got rid of this. And we had to go this way. And we'd have to go up this way. We have to go this way. And that would take like 5 minutes to walk one way. So, your breaks, you'd spend 5 minutes walking there, you'd have 5 minutes to eat, and then you'd have 5 minutes to come back. 15-minute breaks to them. And unlike Walmart, I've heard some Walmarts, the managers are a little bit more assholes about it. I worked at Walmart, and I still do, because I went back to Walmart, because fuck this place. You could start your break when you sat down in the break room. So, your walk time wouldn't really matter. You start your break in the break room and get a 15-minute break, a real 15-minute break. Not just walking on hard-ass concrete shit, and because you want to get to break as fast as you can, you're walking as fast as you can. Of course, you can't run. So you're just getting more exhausted just trying to get to break than any other way. And this stupid break room's way too small. As they didn't build it until later, and by then the freaking thing was packed full, man. So there's only like 5 tables in this one. 5 little round tables, in fact. This one had lots of long tables, but that break room was useless. It's mostly used by these inbound people. So even if this was shorter, and it wasn't exactly shorter, it kind of depends on, like if I was over here in the multi-pack area, I wouldn't go here because it's a little too far away, but if I was over here, which is where I mostly was doing my problem-solving work, then it's kind of equidistant to go either way. Unless it was during that period where we had to go all the fucking way around, and then that was better. But I think they did open this one back up eventually, because they realized it was fucking insane. And I went back to using this one. But back to the crowding thing. So when I first got hired, it was pretty not cramped at all. Got more and more and more and more cramped. So like this whole wall just had, let's see, do I have like a dot tool I can use here? So this whole wall was like lined with microwaves. Thousands of microwaves, not thousands, but there could have been like 30 microwaves. There was a ton of microwaves on this wall. And once we reached peak capacity, they'd all be getting used during lunchtime. All of them. It was ridiculous. You would think with 30 microwaves it would be no problem. No, they were all getting full. And then there was refrigerators all along this wall. Because there's like this back area here where these were all at. There's like 7 or 8 refrigerators. They would all get full by the end of it. The tables would all get full. Everything was full. And of course that meant lunchtime. The lines to use the food machines was insane. So by the time you got your food, it was already time to get back to work. Because your breaks at Amazon are 30 minutes. They're 1 hour at Walmart. Now 30-minute break, that's pretty normal. But not when you have to walk 5 minutes each way. And you have to include... No, not on lunch. Not on lunch. You don't have to include the walk on lunch because you clock in and out here. But on breaks you do have to encounter freaking walk. But you clock in here, and then you still have to wait for however long it takes for microwaves to clear out, or the refrigerators, or the food machines, or seats. Took a long time. And oh, by the way, remember when I said the freaking hiring lady was like, oh, there'll be game systems like GameCube and everything to play. No, there's a Pac-Man machine over there. A Pac-Man machine that you had to stand up to play. And this gets into the freaking exhaustion of it, because you stand 100% of the time. You're no sitting. No sitting at all. No leaning. There's no chance to lean because you have to work non-stop, or you won't make your damn quota. So you're on concrete all day, standing 100% of the time. You have to walk extremely quickly if you even want to have a break on this hard concrete. And then you sit down for 5 minutes at best for your breaks. Lunch, you might get 20 minutes to sit. And then you gotta rush back in. Oh yeah, so the only entertainment machine is one that you have to stand up at. So of course no one's gonna fucking play that because you have to stand the fuck up. You're not gonna stand the fuck up. Oh. And if you're someone who's really attached to your cell phone, by the way, there's no cell phones allowed in the facility. So you gotta put them up in your lockers. They'll give you a locker. But again, if you're gonna use your locker, it's more time that you're not gonna have to sit down. If you're gonna open your locker and get your phone out to check anything, that's on you. If you can't get your locker open, you're fucked. You gotta get back on time. And that's the thing, everyone goes to break at the same time, including the supervisors. So they know when it's time to go back. And they know if you're late. So you can't, there's no hiding. You just gotta, they don't know if you're late or not. So you just gotta go when it's time. So I just didn't even use my locker. Like I don't care about my phone that much. I was putting like a book to read in my lunchbox because I just didn't want to deal with a fucking locker. Oh. So yeah, I was getting miserable working at this damn place. To the point where every morning I woke up, I just hated existence. It's like someone was going 2 miles an hour too slow on the road. Freaking scream at them because I was so angry all the time. I quit. I fucking quit. I quit on Black Friday. I was like, there's no way. They were talking about how awful Black Friday was gonna be, and look how awful it was just on a normal day. I was like, I'm not doing Black Friday. I quit. So I quit, and I went back to Walmart, and now things are great. Don't work at one of these fulfillment facilities. Maybe if you can go straight to a supervisor job and you get to tell people to do shit. But not if you're one of the line workers. You're just gonna get fucked. You're just gonna get fucked. This whole thing is just a Skinner box. They wanna just go through employees as fast as they can. They don't care if you stay. They just lure you in with all these things that sound amazing. And then in practice, they're just not. Do not work for Amazon. You will hate your life. I actually recommend Walmart. I know people give Walmart a pretty bad rap. I understand, you get a 1 hour break at Walmart. They're paying $11 an hour now. So I only dropped down $1 when I left this place. In exchange, I get a twice as long lunch. I don't have to walk fucking this far. My Walmart facility is probably like this big, maybe. Even that might be a stretch, but my Walmart's like that big in comparison, so even if I did have to count my walk time, it wouldn't matter too bad. It's like 2 minutes along a diagonal across, so that's not even, that's like the longest distance and it's still only 2 minutes, but I don't even have to count my lunch because I don't care as much there. It's much more relaxed. I can get to the break room and then take a 15-minute break. And no one cares. And then just the work pace at Walmart, you don't have to meet quotas, you have to do at least good enough, but no one's gonna freaking kill you. Here, there's sometimes that it seemed like the assistant manager lady wanted to fucking kill me. And I was working as hard as I possibly could. I wasn't slacking off at all. Don't work for Amazon. Anyway, I had to make this because they decided to charge me $99 for stupid ass Prime, which I find extremely fishy. I think they're just doing that to get money out of people, because any other website on earth, if you do their free trial and forget to sign out, they just charge you for 1 month. They don't charge you for a freaking year. Fucking $99. Holy shit. I was lucky that I finally have a credit card now to pay the stuff I had to pay. Alright. Hope you all enjoyed and have a good day.